have updates tonight on the DOJ's investigation into Donald Trump. And there's new ludicrous things that the Congresswoman from Georgia is saying about January 6th and how much worse it would have been if she'd been in charge. Somehow she's proud of that. But it's deeper than just hateful comments. That Congresswoman is on the verge of being placed on important committees and having real power.
Plus, shocking developments tonight, almost 7 months after the horrific, tragic Uvalde school shooting. We're learning tonight the Sheriff's Department actually had no active shooter policy when 19 children and 2 of their teachers were shot to death in their classrooms. How could they protect these kids if there was never a plan?
Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. Let's bring in CNN's John Berman. We also have with us senior legal analyst Ellie Honig and former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent. Gentlemen, great to have you all. So let's start with the updates, Ellie, in what's going on with now the special counsel's investigation into all things Donald Trump. They want to interview Brad Raffensperger, okay, Secretary of State in Georgia. That makes sense. He's a pivotal player. Why hasn't the DOJ interviewed him? It's been almost 2 years.
Can I answer your question with just the word amen? I mean, I asked the same question. Why has it taken so long? And look, this is a failure. It's not going to doom the case, but it's an unforced error by prosecutors. Let me explain why.
Yeah.
Laura knows this. As a prosecutor, you guard your witnesses jealously. If you get wind that you have someone who you think is an important witness and someone else is poking around, another agency, another prosecutor's office, you shut them down and you keep your witness away. Now, why? Is it because of greed? No, it's because you don't want your witnesses exposed. So let's look at Brad Raffensperger. We know he's testified in front of the January 6th committee. There's a book on him, literally. There's a transcript full of his testimony. And what's going to happen if he becomes a DOJ witness? The defense lawyers are going to get all that material. They're entitled to it. And they're going to pick him apart. Oh, you said it a little differently this time than that time. Oh, let's follow up on this. And so the more of a record there is on your witness, the more vulnerable he is. And so DOJ, they're talking to Brad Raffensperger now, almost 2 years out. Great, but they're too late. And it's really, frankly, embarrassing that they were beaten to the punch by a congressional committee of all things.
It gives me pause as well on that point because you think about the idea, there's also, he's written a book about
right.
it. I mean, he's written it. So anything that's maybe different from that, et cetera. But also, we're talking about a special counsel having now been appointed. And so I have to wonder, what were the other prosecutors doing up until this point in time? I mean, the idea of, and maybe, you know, we're not privy to everything. I will give the benefit of the doubt in many respects. However, why now? Are we just getting around to it a few days before this committee is going to be good nighted?
Yeah, it's a good question. And by the way, this is not a one-off. Cassidy Hutchinson, right?
That's right.
Remember when she testified, I mean, she blew the roof off, and it turned out, the reporting from the New York Times at the time was, DOJ was totally caught by surprise.
Why, Ellie?
Because they're moving too slow. Because they spent a year and change, DOJ. Look, they had to do these 800, 900 prosecutions of the people who stormed the Capitol, no doubt. The problem was during that time, they focused exclusively on those people and not on the key witnesses. Now, they're getting there now. They've been much more aggressive the last 4 to 6 months, which is good, but there's a cost for being slow.
But to be fair on this point, you know, the committee was not forthcoming always with information, right? I mean, you're rolling your eyes, but they also were having to fight a little bit about who would give what information when. But the committee, their role is not prosecutorial. Their role is to have oversight, to try to correct some shortcomings of the law, et cetera. Do you see the idea of the committee moving quickly and moving slowly? You don't have a report still.
The Brad Raffensperger thing, you didn't need the committee.
Yeah.
You know, the only people who knew about that phone call was everybody. Like the world, planet Earth knew about that phone call. So either DOJ looked at it and decided there was nothing there, or they were just slow walking it for 2 years, which is hard to understand. The flip side of this, I will say there's other things about this which jump out to me. Number one, the Raffensperger call deals with possible illegality involving one person and one person only. This is Donald Trump. I mean, you talk to Raffensperger if you're investigating Donald Trump exclusively to see if he broke the law. The other thing is, they did talk to the White House lawyers last week, right? That's huge. So as weird as this is, as weird and late as this all seems, the fact that they broke down that wall and were talking to White House lawyers and broke through that privilege claim, that's a big deal.